Every night while you sleep, your body enters a metabolic window that ancient physicians understood thousands of years ago. During those hours, 5 biological switches determine whether your body burns abdominal fat or stores more of it. 5 roots found on 4 continents were used for centuries to flip every one of those switches. Then a $70 billion industry made sure you never learned their names. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 roots ancient healers used to dismantle belly fat overnight, why the modern weight loss industry spent decades making sure you forgot them, and how to use every single one yourself. The global weight loss industry pulls in more than $70 billion every year. Supplements, shakes, meal plans, prescription drugs. A significant portion of that revenue targets one specific problem: belly fat. Not the soft layer just beneath the skin, the visceral fat packed around your liver, kidneys, and intestines. The kind that drives disease. The kind your body builds when cortisol stays elevated, when insulin spikes go unchecked, when hormones fall out of balance, and when your liver cannot keep up with the metabolic load. Ancient medical systems on 4 continents identified roots that address every single one of those mechanisms. These roots cost almost nothing. Some grow wild in ditches. Some return every spring without replanting. None of them can be patented. And an industry that profits from belly fat has no reason to tell you about a root you can dig from your own backyard. The first root is one you already know. You have seen it 1,000 times. You have probably cursed at it. It grows in sidewalk cracks, in untended lawns, in the margins of parking lots and abandoned fields. It pushes through gravel. It survives drought. It comes back year after year, no matter how many times you pull it out. Your grandmother may have sprayed it with poison. Your neighbor probably still does. This is dandelion. And the root beneath that bright yellow flower is one of the oldest liver support tools in the history of herbal medicine. Korean families have brewed dandelion root tea for generations. Across Central Europe, rural households harvested the roots in autumn and roasted them as a coffee substitute during times of scarcity. Native American traditions used dandelion root for digestive complaints and as a blood cleanser long before any Western researcher put it under a microscope. The mechanism is not complicated. Your liver is the central processing organ for fat metabolism. When the liver is overloaded with toxins, processed food residue, and metabolic waste, it slows down. Fat accumulates, especially around the midsection. Dandelion root contains bitter compounds like sesquiterpene, lactonase that stimulate bile flow, which aids in the emulsification and digestion of dietary fats in the small intestine. While its mild diuretic properties help flush excess water weight, offering a temporary reduction in abdominal bloating, it is important to note that shedding water weight is not the same as burning stored adipose tissue. The herbicide industry generates billions every year selling chemicals to kill dandelions in lawns and fields. The weight loss industry generates billions more selling solutions for the belly fat that a properly functioning liver would help manage. These 2 revenue streams depend on the same plant staying invisible. One industry poisons it, the other ignores it, and the root keeps growing anyway. But the liver is only part of the equation. There is a hormone that overrides liver function entirely when it comes to fat storage. And the next root is one of the only natural compounds ever shown to lower it measurably. The hormone is cortisol. You produce it when you are stressed. You produce it when you sleep poorly. You produce it when you stare at screens for hours, when you worry about bills, when you eat processed food late at night. Modern life is a cortisol factory, and cortisol does one thing to your midsection with absolute consistency. It tells your body to store fat around the organs. Visceral fat, the dangerous kind, the stubborn kind, the kind that does not respond to sit-ups or calorie counting because it is hormonally driven, not calorically driven. The root that addresses this has been used in India for over 3,000 years. Ashwagandha. Ayurvedic physicians called it a rasayana, a rejuvenator. They prescribed it for exhaustion, for sleeplessness, for the slow erosion of vitality that stress causes over decades. It grows in dry, rocky soil across India, the Middle East, and parts of North Africa. It is classified as an adaptogen, meaning it helps the body regulate its own stress response rather than masking symptoms. While modern clinical studies show that standardized ashwagandha root extracts can reduce cortisol levels by 15% to 30% over an 8 to 12-week period, it is not a direct weight loss cure. Rather, by mitigating chronic stress and reducing cortisol, it helps lower the hormonal drive to store visceral fat while also improving sleep quality. The global market for anti-anxiety and sleep aid pharmaceuticals exceeds $30 billion annually. Ashwagandha root powder costs less than the jar it comes in. It grows in poor soil. It requires almost no care, and it cannot be patented. The research funding gap between a patentable anxiolytic drug and an Indian root that grows in gravel is not a mystery. It is a business decision. Cortisol tells the body to store fat, but there is another mechanism that tells the body to burn it. Thermogenesis, the process of generating heat by burning calories. Your body does this around the clock, including while you sleep. The metabolic furnace does not shut off at night. It simply slows down unless something accelerates it. The root that does this is the most consumed medicinal root on Earth. 2 billion people use it every single week. Chinese physicians documented it over 2,000 years ago. Ayurvedic texts reference it in hundreds of formulations. West African herbalists brew it into tonics. Caribbean grandmothers stir it into tea every evening before bed. This is ginger. The compounds responsible are called gingerols and shogols. They increase metabolic rate. They enhance fat oxidation, the process by which your body breaks stored fat into usable energy. They also reduce gut inflammation, which directly affects how efficiently the body processes food and distributes fat. The thermic effect of ginger means your body expends more energy responding to these compounds even during sleep. More energy expended means more fat burned during the hours you are doing nothing at all. Ginger is so common and so inexpensive that it cannot sustain supplement industry margins. A single root costs less than $1 at any grocery store on Earth. You can grow it on a windowsill in a pot of soil. The thermogenic supplement market sells caffeine pills, synthetic fat burners, and green tea concentrates at enormous markups. These products require laboratories, patents, encapsulation, cold chain shipping, and marketing budgets. Ginger requires dirt and water. The industry does not suppress ginger. It simply drowns it in noise, selling you expensive alternatives that accomplish less. Thermogenesis burns fat. Cortisol stores it. The liver processes it. But there is a master control system that governs all three. Hormonal balance. And when that system slows down, belly fat accumulates no matter what else you do. This is the experience that millions of people over 40 know intimately. The diet that worked at 30 stops working. The exercise routine that kept weight off produces no results. The midsection thickens gradually and stubbornly, resistant to every intervention. The problem is not willpower. The problem is that thyroid output, estrogen and testosterone ratios, and adrenal function are all shifting. When these hormonal signals weaken, metabolism follows. The root that addresses this grows at 14,000 feet in the Peruvian Andes. Incan farmers cultivated it for at least 2,000 years in conditions that would kill most crops. Freezing temperatures, thin air, rocky volcanic soil. They considered it so valuable that it served as currency. Warriors consumed it before battle. It was reserved for nobility during times of scarcity. This is maca. It does not contain hormones. It works on the hypothalamic pituitary axis, the command center that tells your glands how much of each hormone to produce. When this signaling system is supported, the body begins to normalize its own output. Thyroid function stabilizes. Metabolic rate recovers. The stubborn fat that accumulated during hormonal decline begins to respond again. Hormone replacement therapy is a multi-billion-dollar global industry. Thyroid medications, testosterone treatments, estrogen therapies all require prescriptions, all generate recurring revenue, all depend on the patient returning month after month. A Peruvian root that supports the body's own regulation from a plant growing in rocky soil above the cloud line cannot compete for funding against pharmaceutical compounds that create long-term customers. Every mechanism covered so far matters. Liver function, cortisol, thermogenesis, hormonal balance, but there is one switch that overrides them all: insulin. This is the master key to fat storage, and the final root addresses it directly. Insulin is the hormone your body releases when blood sugar rises. Eat processed carbohydrates. Blood sugar spikes. Insulin surges to bring it down. The sugar gets cleared from the blood and converted into stored fat. When this cycle repeats daily for years, the body develops insulin resistance. The pancreas pumps out more and more insulin just to manage normal blood sugar levels. And chronically elevated insulin locks fat into storage around the abdomen with a grip that no amount of dieting can easily break. This is the mechanism behind the belly fat that will not go away. The root that disrupts this cycle grows wild across North America, Europe, and Asia. Its burrs stick to clothing and animal fur. They inspired a Swiss engineer named Georges de Mestral to invent Velcro in 1941 after examining them under a microscope. Most Westerners consider it a nuisance. Most pull it from their gardens without a second thought. In Japan, they call it gobo. It appears in everyday dishes, simmered with soy and sesame, shredded into salads, added to soups. Japanese families have eaten it for centuries as a standard root vegetable. In Korea, it is called awaeong. In China, niu bang. Traditional Chinese medicine has prescribed it for liver and blood purification for over 1,000 years. This is burdock. The root contains a compound called inulin, not insulin, inulin, a prebiotic fiber that slows the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Slower absorption means a gentler insulin response. A gentler insulin response means the body spends less time in fat storage mode and more time in fat burning mode. This effect operates continuously, including through the night, meaning 8 hours of sleep become 8 hours of more efficient metabolic processing. Burdock root also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and emerging observations connect gut microbiome diversity directly to how the body distributes and stores fat. The global diabetes and blood sugar management market exceeds $60 billion annually. Metformin alone is a multi-billion-dollar product. Insulin itself generates staggering revenue. A wild root that grows in ditches, spreads on its own, and supports blood sugar regulation without a prescription represents a direct threat to those numbers. The research funding that flows toward patentable blood sugar drugs versus the funding that flows toward a weed growing behind your fence is not proportional. It was never meant to be. 5 roots, 5 mechanisms, 5 ancient traditions that understood what the modern weight loss industry charges you $70 billion a year to not understand. Dandelion for the liver, ashwagandha for cortisol, ginger for thermogenesis, maca for hormonal balance, burdock for insulin. These roots do not require laboratories. They do not require prescriptions. They do not require cold chain logistics or quarterly earnings reports. They require soil. They require patience. And they have been waiting in the ground for you longer than any industry has existed to tell you not to look.